Hello and welcome again to Bookish Brits. My name is Michelle and today I would like to talk to you about some of my recommendations for paranormal YA. Paranormal YA is not generally my favourite genre of books, but lately I've been reading quite a lot of it and I've really been enjoying what I've been reading. Let's begin. So let's start off with angels. Now angels are not... I'm going to be clear right now, I don't generally like angel books. There's the Fallen series by Lauren Kate, which were okay. I wasn't a huge fan of the Hush Hush series by Becca Fitzpatrick. I haven't read the Angel Fall series by Susan E. because I've been put off by angels in particular. But there are some authors who write about angels really well. I really enjoy the Shadows and Haze books by Paula Weston. I've enjoyed the Unearthly series by Cynthia Hands, but today I would like to talk to you about paranormal YA written by British authors. And for angels, we have the Angel series by L.A. Weatherly. I don't have a copy of the book to hand, but it is really good. I was very surprised when I was reading Angel how much I felt connected to both the main characters, Willow and Alex. I loved their relationship, I loved their road trip, and in particular I love the way in which angels are brought into the story and the whole sort of world building mythology around those angels. It was really good, and I do have the second book in the Angel series somewhere on my TBR pile to be read, hopefully very soon. I also have this book, which I won in a competition last year, Angel Dust by Sarah Mosi. Looks interesting. I'm really intrigued to read it. Moving on, another paranormal creature that I don't always get along with are fairies. Wicked Lovely by Melissa Marr, and the second book was enjoyable, and at the third she kind of lost me. I love Julie Kagawa's Iron Fae trilogy series. Brilliant. I will read anything that Julie Kagawa writes at all. But my recommendations for Fae books by British authors include this series by Karen Mahoney. The Wood Queen is the second book in the series. The first book is called The Iron Witch, and it's about a girl, Donna, who has all of these tattoos on her arms. She learns a lot of things about alchemy and magic, and she has to juggle the magic side of her life with that of her real life, and particularly her best friends. I really enjoyed this series, and I'm looking forward to finishing this book and moving on to the last book in the series. Okay, so Ghosts. One of my favorite books about ghosts is written by Michelle Harrison, who I mentioned just a minute ago, talking about fairies, and she's written a book called Unrest about a boy called Elliot who has trouble sleeping, and when he does fall asleep sometimes he wakes up and his body is completely paralyzed, he can't move or anything, and there are ghosts involved, and honestly, Unrest gave me the creeps. Just the whole book entirely was, oh my god, scary. So that is a huge recommendation for me. Another book that I have on my Kindle is The Weight of Souls by Bryony Pearce, which I don't know a great deal about, but I'm looking forward to it. It has something to do with ghosts. I loved Bryony Pearce's previous book, so I'm sold. I'm sold. Okay, so moving on, that's Angels, Fairies. Vampires. Everyone has read the Vampire Academy series by Rochelle Mead. Everyone's read Twilight and loads of other vampire books. And I was pretty much at the stage where I really couldn't be bothered either way about reading another book about vampires, and then Julie Kagawa wrote the first book in her vampire trilogy, and I was suddenly hooked back into reading vampire books. So I decided to pick up Falling to Ash by Karen Mahoney, author of The Iron Witch, and I fell in love. It was really, really good. I was really surprised by how interested I became again in vampire mythology, and in particular the main character of this book, as she struggles to deal with her new life as a vampire. And the next book in the series is coming out this year, and I really cannot wait. So moving on to witches, and we have I don't have the first book in the series, but this is the second and third book, A Witch in Love and A Witch Alone by Ruth Warburton. I really loved the first book in the series, A Witch in Winter, about a girl who moves to this small village of Winter and discovers that her family are descended from she is descended from a long line of witches. I love the way that Ruth Warburton tackles the concept of insta-love in her book. It was really good, and on the strength of that first book I went out and bought the second and third books in the series. I cannot wait. And this month Ruth Warburton is publishing Witchfinder, which is a prequel to these witch books, but it can definitely be read without any prior knowledge of these books, because it's set before the time of these books. So that is coming out this month. It is the Bookish Brits January book club book, so please, I'll leave all the details below. I would love it if you would come by and join in our discussion and our Goodreads book club book for Witchfinder by Ruth Warburton. Now the last pile of books I'd like to talk to you about today are those supernatural, paranormal type books that I can't really put into a category neatly like I can with vampires or fairies or angels, and those are the books that deal with mind control, telekinesis, special powers of the mind, like Shatter Me, or those sort of books in which there are X-Men sort of powers, and those are probably books that are my favorites to read about. Now the first book that really sprung to mind is the Lila series by Sarah Alderson. This is the second book in the series, Losing Lila. The first is Hunting Lila, about a girl who goes to visit her brother in California, who's a Marine, and she's kind of creeped out. She has this power to move things with her mind, and it kind of goes wrong at home, so she's really going to California to escape, and oops, added bonus, her best friend Alex is someone that she's loved forever. So love this book, I really do. Sarah Alderson is a favorite of mine, and I really recommend this series. It's really action-packed and romantic and interesting, twisty-turny, love it to bits. Now the second book, group of books that I'd like to talk to you about today are the books about the Benedict brothers by Joss Sterling. I absolutely adore the Benedict brothers. There's Finding Sky, there's Stealing Phoenix, there's Seeking Crystal. They're about this family of 7 brothers, and they all have these cool powers. Form together this crime-fighting unit in which they use their powers for good. And in the process of all this crime fighting, they do find love, and when they find the person they are meant to be with, all of their powers are strengthens and everything, and it's just a really, really great series. And finally, we have the Numbers series by Rachel Ward, These are the second and the third books, The Chaos and Infinity, that I have here. The first book is just called Numbers, and it's about a girl who has the power to look at a person and know the exact date to when that person will die. And obviously, because of this gift, she finds it really hard to connect with other people, knowing as she does that the exact date of when that person will die. It was pretty heartbreaking in general. I think it would be awful to have any knowledge of that kind, and I'm not really sure what the second and the third book will hold for me. I haven't read the backs of the books at all. I don't know very much about it, but I loved the first book so much that I had to get hold of these books in the series, and I hope to read them in 2014. Okay, so those are the books written by British authors who write about paranormal YA that I'm really looking forward to this year. If you have any suggestions or recommendations for your own favorite books about paranormal things, I would love to hear from you. Let me know!